Today, I declare that I will not keep the races separate within me. I will polish off my veneer of black and white and dare you to see all that is me, all that is real, and all that is misunderstood, even by the ones that love me the deepest and love the uniqueness. This piece is called Caught Between Two Worlds by Carlos Perez, The Loneliness of Being Mixed Race in America by Vox, First Person, and Composite Soul, a poem about growing up mixed race by Kelly Bates. Right now, this may change. I identify as mixed race, black person, but initially I identified as biracial. I felt like growing up in the environment that I was in, it was very clear to me that I was black and I was mixed. But when I moved to New York, that dramatically changed. What are you doing sitting here with your diary? Get out there and tear the hair out. Yeah, right. I don't get you. You're tired of being picked on, but you don't do anything about it. What can she do? Tell them off. I got a lot of people not really being able to recognize me on sight. I've had to deal with an ethnic ambiguity that I never had to deal with before. So I had to figure out the language that I wanted to use to describe myself. I think part of this stems from the fact that when I grew up, my dad, who is black, wasn't really in my life. So a lot of black identity came from the black people that my mother worked with and the neighborhood that I lived in. But also my family was so white and, frankly, for as much as I love my mother, racist. My grandfather would not be in the same room with her entire 9 months she was pregnant. He couldn't even hold me for the first couple of months of my life. There were 5 girls yelling, but at this window, do you really think she can stop them from teasing her? So, she just sits here writing her diary for the rest of her life? Leave her alone. If it weren't for her writing in her diary, we wouldn't even exist. There's nothing wrong with being black. Like there's something wrong with being white. You heard them. If we looked like mom instead of like you, we'd be fine. You mean instead of like dad? Sometimes I think mom's ashamed of me because I look like dad. Can you handle it? You'll see me wearing my big J-Lo hoops on my ears with long Janis Joplin dress hanging from my tan body. You'll hear me talk trash when an urban roots accent, slapping my hands in louder laughter, and next, talking. Can you handle it? You watch my wild curls spring from my head, every frizz uncovered, every strand untamed, every piece unstraightened. You watch me jump, bend, sway, and lift up my fist to fierce soul and hip-hop, deep, defiant rock, and the sounds of steady African drums and off-Irish bagpipes. You'll watch me over my lifetime love black men, white men, and women of every hue because I won't fight the beauty of or humanists. I sort of remember realizing my race when I was late elementary school age, and I had gotten in trouble at my grandmother's house. And I remember putting like a baby powder on my skin and like trying to convince myself for whatever reason that I would not be as in trouble if I looked more like my mom. Mom, I don't fit in. Join the club. A lot of people don't fit in. Nice way to make me feel better. No kidding. I have problems fitting in at school too. You did? Yes. How? I have braces and the kids would tease me. Mom, braces can come off. This can't. I also felt the struggle to feel connected with black people when I was growing up. I felt often like a conditional black person, and I think there are some mixed race black folks that have a lot of anger about that. When I was younger, I did, but I've also come to understand that the idea of being authentically black is literally a response to things like the one drop rule and this white supremacist idea of how we define race and mixed race, and black identity being tied to sexual violence. So this reclamation of what it means to be black is byproduct of racism. Racism. If we had blonde hair and blue eyes like mom, we'd fit in. You know, it's true. No one can choose how they'll look when they're born. Maybe not now, but someday you'll be able to design your own kid through genetics. Great. Then we can all look like Barbie and Ken. Is there something wrong with being blonde and white? Will you accept this freedom and smile with joy? Watching me be me. Watching me discard your images of what you see or want me to be, and still love me. I carve up the black and white versions of me and toss them to the fire and take back out my true composite soul, glistening, warm, and never fading. Today, the races are no longer separate within me, and I am me and free. Can you handle it? It's weird being in places with people who try to make you an exception to the rule, and it makes me want to double down. Because I'm not an exception. I think that has really made me embrace this idea of I am black, I am mixed, but I am black.